Hello, Brilliant One. Welcome to Billionaire Brilliance with your coach, mentor, and guide, Anna McCoy. I'm a bit quirky, funny, fascinating, and absolutely serious about your good success. You're listening to the Business and Faith podcast for entrepreneurs to help you win in business and life.
Say what you see, believe you will be. Ooh, if you can see it's your mindset. You can achieve it. Adjust your mindset.
Welcome to this episode on Unleashing Your Brilliance with AI. You know, I know you've been listening to the news and you've been hearing all of the rave about AI, and some of us might be pretty scared and the rest of us might be pretty excited. Well, for those who are on both sides of those feelings, right, of being scared and being excited, all at the same time. You know, I'm here to encourage you today more than anything else is that this whole idea of billionaire brilliance and unleashing your brilliance, I want to put it in this framework of you have ideas and you have dreams and visions inside of you that you have procrastinated on, that you have in your journals, that you have maybe hidden in your heart, things that you've never maybe even told anyone. Maybe you thought it was too outlandish. Maybe you thought it was too big to even be imagined. So in this episode, my intention is not to technically drive this conversation, but to emotionally drive the conversation in the sense that I know that there will be many, many people who will, you put up your hands and say, that's not for me. But I'm telling you, if you're in the workplace and you're working, you're writing emails, you're engaging with the general public, maybe you're a creator, maybe you're in a service-based business, maybe you're working for someone, I'm telling you, I hope that after you listen to this podcast, that you either want to educate yourself, you want to dive in, you want to log in to ChatGPT and just start giving it a try. So what I will do is explain a few things in the way that I have experienced this phenomenon for so many of us who don't have a relationship or an experience with AI. And AI is artificial intelligence, or artificially inspired is what we like to say as creators. And I believe that there's going to be a tremendous move that you'll see whenever technology gets down to the masses. Now we're going to start to see AI as a way of creating and working and being and doing. We'll have to validate that, and we'll start to validate that through our connections, whether it's to groups, associations. We'll have all of these different, whether it's laws, policies, principles, AI for ethics, how we do this, how we use this technology. And one of the big things that's concerning most people around this AI and around using ChatGPT, and that's a chat box, which is natural language programming. It is your ability to communicate with artificial intelligence, and it communicates back to you in a human-like conversation. However, it's also important to know that most people, when we think about it, AI, we think about robots, right? And we think about robots primarily because that's what we've been shown. We've seen it in movies and iRobot. We see all of these. You got to think about that's created for entertainment. But the way we began to think about how we are processing entertainment, maybe it is something that's going to happen in the future. But until that does, you will be faced with a decision to determine if you're going to take advantage of this. And here's something that you really need to think about. When I say take advantage of it, I'm not actually suggesting that you are the person to do it. You might be in a situation where you are a leader, or maybe you're an owner of a business, and It's not something that you want to necessarily engage in, but you want to explore how this is going to help your business. How might it grow your business? How might it 10x, and we call 10 times the productivity that you're doing today, that will ultimately impact your revenue? How might it increase your opportunities? How quickly can you get to market on a particular product or service? Now, we know if you're participating in the digital marketing space or in this world of digital, in the world of Facebook or YouTube or LinkedIn or any of these spaces, and you're in the service-based business, I know you have to feel like I feel sometimes, like, is the only place I can get a customer online? I mean, how can I get just a person interested in my business without me having to do ads or sales pages, copywriting, posting online, all of these things? Haven't you had those questions? I know I have. And oftentimes when we do have those questions, it causes us to become immobilized in our ability to actually take action on that task or on that project or on that vision. So ultimately, what happens is your revenue suffers. Your business suffers because, you feel overwhelmed by, do I have to do that? Well, here's the thing. Is over a period of time, it does feel overwhelming, and it is overwhelming. It's overwhelming to have to post every day to try to figure out your social media calendar, what you're going to talk about. I mean, I've done it, and then I quit. I quit social media. I quit Facebook. I quit preaching in those environments. It was just too much. It was taking too much of my time, too much of my energy with very little payoff. And so now when you think about the ability of using AI, artificial intelligence, and again, remember that it's learning a language. It's learning how you're communicating. You're actually having a question answer with the technology. And a question can be as simple as, what is the river blue? Right? I don't know what the river blue is, but it's a question I've got on my mind. I can ask that question, and then we start to have a question. That a prompt is what it's called when you ask the AI something, which is like a question. And questions are the currency of the future. And now I've changed that. I've been saying that for the last several years. Questions are the currency of the future, meaning that if you want to have access, if you want to build relationship, if you want to create opportunity, ask a question. Now, I am a coach, and we are paid to ask well-formed questions. We ask a question and we peel back the layer so that we can go deeper and truly find out what your intentions are, what your motivations are, what your feelings are, what your expectations are. Well, when we take that same kind of experience, I want you to think about having a conversation. And here's the thing about what I've discovered over this past week of using ChatGPT is the fact that it might help you stay focused on one single conversation. What I recognized as I start going down the rabbit hole is that it is trying to follow your train of thought. And the moment you try to multitask or something popped in your head and you ask the question, it's like, oh, I'm sorry, I don't know anything about that. Oh, what are you talking about? It takes you off the full train of thought. And so I think as a part of using it, it's going to help people become even more intentional about what their outcomes are, or what they're in pursuit of when it comes to knowledge. So let's get back to this idea of what are you feeling about this experience that you're hearing about? And I do hope that you're hearing about it. And I want you to know that I'm here to encourage you to explore it, to discover it, to ask a person within your sphere of influence to take a class, to participate on a webinar, to look at videos, whatever you need to do to gain an understanding. I'm not asking you to do it, because sometimes, here's the thing about business or being a person of leadership, the question isn't how it's done, it's about who will do it. Who will do it? So it frees up your time. It frees up your ability to think more about what you're doing. So when you think about your participation, it really is an opportunity for exponential growth. It's also like where things are going at a certain level and then they just take a straight turn, a right turn straight up. It's called the elbow exponent. And it's like things are moving along and then they just go straight up. Now, because they're going straight up, it means that it's going to grow. That particular area is going to grow at an exponential rate, meaning that it's going to repeat and build up on itself and multiply at a very rapid rate. What we recognized over the past few months is that in 5 days, when they released and they opened the wait list for people to begin to join the ChatGPT, within 5 days, they reached 1 million users. You might ask, well, what does that mean? Well, what it means is when you think about Facebook, it took them over 2.5 years to get to 1 million. When you think about Netflix as a streaming service, it took them over 7 years to get to 1 million subscribers. So what you see is over a period of time, technology and information and people are telling each other, they're communicating, they're telling their coworkers, they're telling their mamas, they're telling their preachers, they're telling people, you gotta use this to make your life easier. Now that you've figured out the numbers are telling the story, when we think about this continued growth, back in 2020, I had a opportunity as I was sharing a word for the decade. In 2020, I began to talk about how technology was going to impact the next decade. Here is what's really remarkable is the fact that because of COVID, what was expected to happen in 2030 is exponentially happening now in so many ways. When we think about 5G connecting 4 billion new people to the internet, that's crazy. Now, when you hear a number like that, and if you're an entrepreneur and you say that there are 4 billion people on the internet now, when all of the continents are connected with 5G, in the millions or even billions of Internet of Things, everything that can connect to the internet in your house today, if you opened up your router, and it'll show you probably have 20, 30 devices connected. You're not thinking about your phone, your iPad, your laptop, your earpods, your everything. Everything's connected. And so don't throw the baby out with the bathwater when it comes to this artificial intelligence. There are many different types of artificial intelligence. And the kind that I'm talking about today was created by OpenAI, and it's called ChatGPT. So you can go to OpenAI, sign up, and start playing around with it. I'm doing a webinar to teach you how to prompt the AI so that it can help you be more effective in your business. It can help you build your sales pages, your sales copy, write your emails, communicate through your customer service, just to increase everything that you're doing. All those programs that you want to do, courses aren't going anywhere, no matter how many of them are out there, and they're free. People are going to continue to create them every single day. And the reason for that is that you can take the same subject matter with different personalities, different minds, so you're going to have different perspectives. And the questions you ask are going to create those different perspectives. And so don't give up on don't turn a deaf ear to this. The other thing I want you to think about is this is one of those opportunities that's another transfer of wealth. What we saw in 2020 was a transfer of wealth. All of the earth seemed to have stopped, except for business, big business, essential workers, shipping, clear out the road so we can take you a package kind of thing. Somehow they were able to do that. Somehow they were able to send you a meal, or bring you a meal or something. I'm just saying is that in that moment, more billionaires got even more richer while we were all sitting at home trying to figure out what's going on. But here's another opportunity for you to sit at home and say, I want to be a part of this and I want someone to help me do it. And I think that, again, when we think about AI, I have seen just in this last week, I've seen people that have gotten exposed to this and how they've been able to 10x their productivity. For example, and I'll close with this, and we'll have to talk more when it comes to your involvement or how you might get involved in this process and maybe take the class that I will offer for you to master the tools of AI so that you can increase your business, your ministry, and so forth. But here are a couple of examples that I've personally seen. I've personally seen individuals, once they got a hold of this idea, immediately use AI to create a sales page to sell something, and they made thousands of dollars immediately. Here's the thing is that if you're a coach or if you're a person that creates courses or you sell a product, oftentimes you get stuck. You get stuck in the failure to launch because you don't know the language that you should be using to attract the ideal client that you want to attract. Well, the good news is that using this AI, you can actually develop and create your branding, your brand messaging, all of these things step by step. And that's some of the things that I'll have in that webinar is to show you how to ask the right prompts, which are similar to questions, so that the AI can do the task. And as you become better at that, then you're going to produce or get the AI to produce exactly what you want. And here's something for you to consider too. Many people are going to debate over the ethics or the morality of what's happening around AI. Should we be using this? And there are already lawsuits with Google and other companies around artists, very similar to Napster. When Napster, which later became Rhapsody, was one of the first music streaming companies. I think they started in 1999 and they had millions of subscribers, millions of them. And then by, I think maybe a few years later, they were sued by the record labels and ultimately were put out of business because they didn't understand, or they were accused of obviously circumventing the royalties of artists and so forth. So now we figured that out. We figured out how to all enjoy streaming music on YouTube, on Spotify, Sirius XM, radio, you name it. We're enjoying it, and hopefully artists are being paid. Here's the other thing to consider is AI can do music, it can do videos, it can clone you to do videos, to make personal videos, so that you can get out more of your customer responses than you could actually do yourself. It does scheduling, it does virtual assistant, it does all of these different things that we're thinking we have to have other people to do. And until you come to the place to recognize that your time is valuable and your brilliance is within your ability to reclaim your time. So here's the real quandary is that humans can only do so much per second. Once the AI has the information and it has learned that information, it's not going to lose it. But it can learn a diversity of information and be able to support that and give it back to us. Then with our human intelligence, we begin to look and decipher, is this in alignment with what I am trying to achieve? So don't throw it out yet. Join the revolution. Don't be left behind. There is a way for you to participate. In fact, every industry will be impacted. by AI, by the speed of knowledge, at the speed of light, that this knowledge is being transferred and these tasks are being done, while you're sleeping. And some of us are going to be very wealthy because we learn how to use AI and master the tools for our fullest benefit. And that you really can't question. So I've got so much more to tell you or to share with you. And I just want to, again, like I said, in this episode, there are so many videos and things available to give you key points for this, this, and this. And I'll close with these points. And I want to encourage you to go to YouTube, take a look at some of those videos, get a clearer understanding of what opportunities are available. And in addition to that, I'd like you to consider attending my webinar on mastering the tools of AI for your business or ministry. And we're going to go through some detailed case studies on how you can use this. I'm going to take you through the simplicity of it. You'll have to have your account already done, but I'll give you those instructions once you register for the event. I'm just excited for us to grow in this space, for you to grow in your business, for you to grow in your ministry. And I did not say, for some of my audiences who are believers, and I'm on the Charisma Podcast Network as well, for you, don't be afraid of this. Because even when it comes to the knowledge base and the knowledge base that's there, you have enough knowledge and inspiration and awareness and what the Word of God says that when you use it for that purpose, it could be extremely positive in writing songs and pulling up sermons, helping you to create different types of tools to help to spread the gospel. So there are so many ways that we can use this and be successful at it. But more importantly, I think the most important thing here is don't be afraid. Most people think that they'll be replaced by AI. Maybe some jobs will be replaced. When the ATM came out, they thought they would replace banks, but believe it or not, over 40% more banks actually showed up in the marketplace. So when we think about technology, this is a new form of technology, from 8-track tapes or to albums that are now coming back. You know what I'm saying? Because people want an album. They want something physical that they can touch. But I remember working in my uncle's record shop when I was about 12 years old and had to go to the distribution center to pick up LPs, both 38 and 70. I think it was 78 or 76. And also 8-track tapes. But there was that transition that was happening. Before I finished out, there was the transition from 8-track to cassette, and nobody wanted to change. It was in your cars, it was in your houses, big televisions, you know what I'm saying? Big Zenith box televisions. Nobody wanted to change, but they started to get smaller. And then, of course, flat screens started to come, and they were real flat, but they were still wide. They were just thinner. And now we have really thin televisions that we call smart TVs. So that's a part of the technology as well. And so don't resist it, embrace it, be a part of it, find out more, ask more questions. They are the currency of the future. And I would say to those that are listening today is that I guarantee you that there's something inside of you, something in your mind, something in your heart that I know needs an answer. Why not ask? Ask AI, see what happens, and ask again until you become clearer, have more understanding about that incredible, imaginative idea that you might have. So unleash your brilliance with AI, and thank you for listening. This is Coach Anna. You're listening to the Business and Faith podcast on how to unlock your billionaire brilliance with Coach Anna McCoy to be more confident, make more money, and achieve your wildest dreams in business and in life.
Ooh, if you believe it, it's your mindset. You can achieve it. It's just mindset.